Hello and welcome to the Jared Montz Soccer Podcast. This is Jared Montz, the founder of OnlineSoccerAcademy.com and CollegeRecruitingWebsite.com, and as always, I'm your host. Today is Monday, April 4th, 2011, and today's guest is DeMerit. Yes, that DeMerit of the Vancouver Whitecaps and the U.S. Men's National Team. The Jared Montz Soccer Podcast is put on by my company, OnlineSoccerAcademy.com. We make better soccer players through easy-to-learn-from, free online training videos. If you're a player, coach, or has a listener that has a kid that plays soccer, sign up today for free at OnlineSoccerAcademy.com. How do you like playing for the Whitecaps and MLS?
It's been amazing so far. You know, a lot went into the decision to whether A, to come back to the MLS, B, to come back to Vancouver, and throughout the whole process, it was just about making the right decision, but also, kind of fast forwarding about what that decision would eventually become of, and it was the city, it was the club, it was trying to help build something from the start, and Vancouver hasn't let me down on any of those ways, and I've really enjoyed myself so far. It's challenging on all sorts of levels. The Vancouver itself, the fans have been amazing, the club has been amazing, all across the board. So really enjoying it. Again, it's something that's hopefully just in the beginning stages, and it'll only continue to improve, and that's exciting for us all.
The Guardian over in Europe wrote a great article about Rise and Shine, and I'm just going to read a little excerpt so the listeners can just get a full understanding of a little bit of your story and how you got started in Europe after no teams in MLS wanted you. So the article states in the beginning, with a bit of loose change in his backpack, he arrives in England, hunkers down at a friend's parents' house, where he sleeps on a mattress in the attic and gets a game at a lowly non-league club on £40 a week. Unable to buy a car, he gets lift to games in the back of his coach's van, where he's cushioned from the jolts and bumps by piles of pants and boxers of brassieres. His coach is an underwear salesman. At the end of the first season, the club goes out of business. He is 24, no club, no money, and apparently no chance. 2 years later, he's playing in front of 65,000 people in the world's most lucrative club game, where he scores and is named man of the match. The following year, he fulfills his dream of playing in the Premier League, and another couple of years down the line, he's a mainstay for his country at the World Cup. Now, Jay, when I read this earlier, instantly I got goosebumps and I was teared up. I was so pumped up. How do you react when you read this and know that it's your story, not someone else's? Can you believe it?
Well, it's crazy, people always ask me that question, and a lot of times with this film, especially because of not only the timing of the film, but why now, why those types of questions. But for me, the strength of the story is how you get there, and like you said, it's those goosebump moments where you got yourself on the line and you're looking and you're staring an opportunity right in the face, and what do you do with it? You stare it in the face and you go through it, and that's kind of just been a general attitude of mine my whole life, and for me to live that, I don't think anything of it, because that's just the way I am, whether it's the way I was brought up or a lot of different ways of how you develop as a human. But I think it's just, for me, it's been about the attitude, and the attitude also tells you not to look back and not to sit there and think that you've settled or you're comfortable in your own skin. For me, it's always about challenging myself to continue to be better on all walks of life. And, the whole story kind of, as a base explains that. And it's about, the challenges and rising above them and making sure that you not only recognize them as opportunities, but you use them to further your own life in the best way possible.
At Stefik on Twitter asks, who's the toughest player you've had to defend against?
Well, it's got to be the man the other night, Messi. I've played against him 3 times now, and every time I've played against him, he just gets better and better and better. And the first time I played against him, he was even, a world class above the world class, and now he's just, there's the world class stage, there's the Premiership stage, and there's professional stage, and he's the world class above the world class. He's just on a totally different level. I mean, you get off the field with the guy, and it really blows your mind. And you talk to guys that play against the best players in the world every week in the Premiership and things like that. You play against Messi, you just really, there's nothing else you can say.
At Gavin's on Twitter asks, compare the difference between playing in the EPL and the MLS.
Well, I'm just starting to find out about what the MLS is all about. But so far, EPL has played a lot in the final thirds, and the concentration you need in those final thirds is what makes the EPL the EPL, and probably the most exciting and hard league in the world, is because, you know, when you play in the final thirds, you have the best finishers in the world and the best defenders in the world. But when those two things come together in both boxes, that's what soccer is, because it's about goals. It's about stopping goals, and I think the EPL, does that better than any other league in the world. And probably that's what makes it the most mentally tough league in the world to play in. And for me, that was the best thing about the EPL. Now, the best thing about the MLS is that it's still growing, and there's still a lot that can become a big league. And I guess that's what's most intriguing for me. And part of the reason why I'm here is to try to help that and to try to be a part of that growth. And I think the MLS is always a work in progress. It still is now, but you're starting to get guys with real pedigree that are coming back or coming into this league that are coming for the right reasons, not their own. A lot of people in the beginning came because they wanted to pick up a paycheck and all the rest of that stuff. I don't really believe that's happening anymore. Of course, there'll always be cases of it, but for the most part, the MLS in its fight for legitimacy is always trying to improve. But it's only going to be as good as its players, and as good as the way that the fans treat it and the way that the owners treat it. Those three things, more and more as the years go on, are come together, and it's really starting to make it be a league that can contend with the others. Is it there yet? No, definitely not. But the general standard of play on a 90-minute basis from, say, like a U.S. national team game to an MLS game isn't that far. That gap isn't as huge as it used to be. And as long as that gap is getting shorter and shorter, then the MLS is a fantastic league and will continue to get better. And that's what's most important for the league.
What advice do you have for young players that are trying to live the dream of playing pro soccer?
I guess the general advice when I get asked this question is just, people think that you have to be a part of the system, because if you didn't play for your state team when you were 12, 13 years old, that you can't go and play college soccer, or that you can't go play pro, or you can't go do this or that because your coach when you were 19 said you might not make it. A lot of people think that that's the case, but it's not. And for me, it's not only about spreading that message, but it's just about believing in that and that capability of happening. And I guess maybe that's what the fight's about, in trying to believe in yourself first and foremost. And when you do that, then you don't really have to listen all the time to people. Of course, you have to be receptive to your coaches and what people say to you, but if you improve those slight little problems that you might have throughout your development, that doesn't mean that you can't get to the top. And I guess that would be the main advice for sure.